what we're going to do is pick an interval. So over here we had thirds. We also have fourths, fifths, sixths, sevenths, the whole bit. And we're going to treat each note in the scale, in our major scale here, as its own root and stack an interval on top of it. And so let's start with thirds, because that's really where the rubber kind of hits the road. And if you recall, I have two ways of playing my third intervals. One of those is as a harmonic interval, and that's what we've done so far. We've played both of these notes together as in a harmony, right? So when I do that, I get a variety of major and minor thirds. They're not all major thirds just because they're from the major scale. So, and the reason for that, if I come back over here, let's scroll up. The reason for that is, you recall, let's look back at our little fundamental truth here. A major interval, a major third, is the distance from C to E, for example, right? So the distance from C to E is 2 whole steps. If we break these down to the, their smallest units, C to E is 2 whole steps. When I treat D as its own little root here and I stack F on top of it, that is what we call the diatonic third. That is, diatonic just means from the scale. So when I stack that F on top of it, I notice that the intervals are slightly different. I have a whole step from D to E, but then a half step between E and F. So the distance from D to F is therefore a step and a half, which is 1/2 step smaller than my major third. And we know from earlier that when I subtract a half step from a major interval, it becomes minor. So something like that, D to F. So when we go through that process on each one of these notes of the scale, treating each note as its own root note and thereby sequencing this interval through the scale, I end up with a major third starting on the first degree of the scale. There's a minor third between E and G, major third between F and A, major third between G and B, there's a minor third between A and C, and then between B and D at the end. I get another minor third. A major, 2 minors, 2 majors, 2 minors. Very good. Here's how I'm going to practice that. I always spent a lot of time with thirds. They always sound good. Thirds always sound really good. So I'm going to take a C major scale. We'll pick a position. Let's say we want it over there. I'm moving positions here. But I'm going to come down here to the 8th fret, and then there is C to E. Easy enough. Okay, and they're on adjacent strings, so I can play these either separately from one another or at the same time. There's a couple of different ways to do this, but I like to write it out this way, where I can potentially play these either way, either separately or together. D to F, that's a third. 10th fret on the E string over here to the 8th fret on the A string. Now I'm shifting a little bit. There's E to G, minor third, right? This is slow. I know my I have hotkeys or something that might make this work. But anyway, all right, I just made it up to G and B. There it is. I'm going to move over again. A to C. I'm going to put that over here. You could look at this and say, man, this is maybe not the most efficient way of playing this. And I know that. The point is, I'm able to play them either together or separately. I like playing them in varying orders too, right? They're not all ascending, they're not all descending. Maybe I want to mix that up a little bit. I'll explain what I mean by that in a second here. So there we go. There's thirds in an octave. Very good. All right. Let's come over here and give us a little double bar line. Cool. So what do we have? Let's see. In reverse. shuffling those thirds around. There we go. Nice little thing to practice. Thirds are going to be super important. This is the start of our tertiary harmony. That is stacked third intervals on top of one another. So I want to get comfortable with these. They're written out in another way in the packet. They're written out on, just up and down the A string and the D string. That's great too, because I want to see how these things lay. This is a little more in a position, right? Casually a position, kind of shift between 7th and 5th position here. That's all right though.